Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I make turtles.
It's now time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neal Ruhl. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal Ruhl. That guy over there is D-Mac, Darren McCarty, four-time Stanley Cup champion. We got Sam Flannel in the house. You know we got Spencer here on the ones and twos as well. We are going to chop it up today. Lots going on. Michigan in the Sweet 16, this never-ending NFL draft talk as well. Pistons got a very impressive win last night. We will discuss all of it. Now everybody, all of a sudden, now that the Yankees are getting ready to start in New York, all of a sudden everyone can play. That's really weird. We'll discuss what changed magically there.
What changed? Aaron Judge. The Judge needs to play.
The Yankees got to play.
Yeah,
that's what changed.
Isn't that just crazy? Anyways, we'll talk about it. But again, follow the money.
Follow the money, absolutely. No, we will. And usually we come out and I make fun of D-Mac for watching Oak Island or something like that. But yesterday, we're not going to do that here, at least not in the first segment. But yesterday, I seemed to take a lot of slander, both on social media and on our YouTube chat thread as well. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, tap into that. We read your thoughts periodically as we run through those here. Our social media handles are on the screen also. But it got me to thinking, and he was here today, and this is me talking. This is not Scott Bischoff's words. These are my words, who I believe to be the best NFL draft pundit in the city of Detroit. He's more humble than that. He'll never say that. He'll say I'm not right.
Can I concur with your assessment of the situation? There's 2 votes for Bischoff.
Yeah, so there you go. So he's here, so we welcome him in, Scott Bischoff.
You don't have 4 yet, Scott, but you got 2. There you go.
I can aspire to greatness, but I'm not going to get there. You've been there, I think. You were a part of it, right? A big part, small
big part, little part.
Whatever.
That's for everybody to decide. But I got to hold my rings up like this. I got the hardware to say.
Is that why your fingers are all jacked up from those heavy rings?
That's what it is. And also, too, maybe a little bit because this was Saturday, March 26th, 25-year anniversary of hitting somebody really hard. But we're talking football here. Right?
We'll take care of that tomorrow.
More important. We'll get to that tomorrow. Big segment. I got the golden rule, breaking it down.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. The whole second hour of the show tomorrow is dedicated to the Darren McCarty, Claude Lemieux, the fallout, the aftermath, the prequel, all of it. He does these speaking engagements around town, which you have one going on this weekend, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But did want to welcome in to the show Scott Bischoff. Follow him on Twitter at Bischoff_Scott. And Scott, before we get neck deep in all this, and you tell the people if they're right for giving me the slander, or if I'm right, or we don't know who's right, which ultimately I think that's going to be the answer. Draft show, Woodward Sports.
Yeah.
Let everybody know. How's that working?
It's great. It's with Russ Brown. First one came out yesterday. I think we have another one coming out today/tomorrow. We're going to record twice a week. We're going to try to throw on a little film session once a week where we're looking at players and kind of about the things we're looking for and that kind of stuff. I'm excited about it. It's cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
Happy about it.
I'm happy to have you on board, too. I mean, just for what you bring to it. But it's enough of me sucking up to you, I guess.
No,
Scott,
not yet.
No, keep it going. Okay, let's just come out with it. Yeah, let's get to the meat of the issue. I took a lot of slander on social media yesterday. Woodward Sports put out the clips. I've been on this crusade. Again, I have to qualify it. I'm not planting the flag saying you have to take Malik Willis with the second overall pick. I am trying to be a servant leader to the people, Scott, and prepare them, get them to able to wrap their minds around the fact that Malik Willis is very much in play at 2. More than people, I think, here in our YouTube chat thread, people that watch Woodward Sports, Lions fans in general, more than they are giving it credit for.
Yeah.
I go to you. Am I right in doing this? Am I wrong in doing this? What's kind of your impression of this whole Malik Willis mania?
So, in the end, there is no player in this entire class, even if they hit the ceiling of where you're drafting them that can flip a franchise around as quickly as Malik Willis can. There's nobody. You take Aiden Hutchinson at 2, and I know he's got a lot of fans in the city, but even if he hits what you think he is, which is, I mean, to me, he's a notch below either of the Bosas or where Chase Young was coming out. So he hits for you, and he becomes a 9 to 12 sacks a year guy. You had that 2 years ago with Romeo Okwara. How'd that work out? What does it do for your franchise? Maybe you win a game or two more than you would without him, but it doesn't take you from 3-13 and 3-13-1 to, I think they'll be like 7-10 kind of range this year. It doesn't really flip the fortunes of the franchise. Malik Willis does if he hits. Now, I'm not saying it's not risky, and I'm not saying it's without him having to develop as a player, but we can't ignore the idea that he is a young man who we just assume will not get any better, and is what he is right now, which is raw as a passer kind of thing, and he'll never improve, and the Lions won't put him in a position to win. All those things I think that's flawed logic. So to me, there's just no player in this class, no matter who it is, who can take this franchise from where it is right now and flip it around as quickly as he can. There's a wide range of reasons there. There's a desire for those who want to dismiss him to just talk about, okay, you take him at 2 and then it's over. Well, you have pick 32. You have pick 34. You have pick 66.
97, I think,
97.
too. Yeah.
You have 2 first-rounders next year. My assumption is you have 3 top 45 picks next year. So you take Malik Willis at 2 and you surround him with 5 top 45 picks in the next 2 drafts. That's not just Malik Willis and bust. It's Malik Willis and a lot around him. And then free agency dollars that you can add to the mix because he's on a rookie deal. And there's just so much there. The other concept is that you are playing Jared Goff. Jared Goff did look better at the back half of the season. Okay, so you flip Jared Goff at the end of the season. What do you get for him? You get a 2 and a 3 for him?
You add to the war chest.
It's more ammunition to help Malik Willis. But in the end, there's just no player, even, I mean, understanding that there's a ton of risk involved, there's nobody that can flip the fortunes of this franchise in this draft, period, more than Malik Willis. There just isn't. And they have to give up nothing to get him. He's right there at 2.
And D-Mac, so, I mean, you've kind of opened my, you said, Neal, you kind of opened my eyes to this possibility. When he talked, and I think what Scott's saying is, there is no other player, and I hadn't even thought of this, there is no other player in this draft with the ceiling that he has.
Well, there you go. There's one aspect because you do a deep dive. Now that the fact that the talent is not there. Every year at the beginning, we're usually hearing it's that year-out guy. The Trevor Lawrence is going to go 1. Here's the quarterbacks coming out. Here's the Chase Young. Here's this guy. When you don't have that legitimate top pick or the guy that you need, because Scott's bringing up these conversations about what you've done, what this guy could bring, who takes your organization with the hit to me, it's pros and cons now. And in the pros and cons, you dig into the salary cap, you dig into the draft, and you dig into the availability. So this isn't going out on the limb. There's teams out there this draft that absolutely have to hit on a quarterback or hit on a player, right, to either move forward. I think what Scott brings to reality is that this isn't as far of be prepared, because this won't be as far of a reach to go get this, because if Scott Bischoff says that the ceiling on this guy is the highest, and he's a quarterback, and he's under the rookie deal,
and he's right,
and he's talked about what you can surround him with, and the idea of the long play of where Jared Goff, where this and that is. These are all the conversations going on right now in Allen Park. And it's the be prepared, as you said, Neal, because now I'm preparing more because it makes more sense.
And that's, we are going to see, Drake. No, and that's where it's been with me is we talk about be prepared. I think some of the pros that you bring to the discussion is be eminently prepared. Like, get the canned goods, put the blanket in the back of the car, make sure you're stocked up on water and things like that. And again, for me, Scott, and our YouTube chat thread here, Tony Diaz, Neal, don't you think we need defensive help that can make a significant impact? And you stated it a little more obviously than I did, so I'll defer to you, Scott. But my understanding of what you say is you still have 3 other picks in the top 100 of the draft, number 2 notwithstanding.
Yeah,
you have that ability still to get defensive help. Yeah.
I mean, you have 3 more picks in the top 66 of this draft. You have 2 first-rounders next year. There are better pass rushers in next year's class than there are in this year's class. There just are. You have, if they finish in the middle of the pack, you're going to pick 45 in round 2 next year. You have the ability to do a lot of things next year. But the idea that we're just going to kick the can down the road on the quarterback position and go get one in 2023 is a little flawed, too, because there's no guarantees you can go get that guy. If the Giants suck this year and Daniel Jones is not the guy and they have the first pick, you think they're trading out of one when one of these quarterbacks might be what they view as a franchise player? No, they're not trading out of that spot. So there's no guarantees you can get one.
How much to this is good GMsmanship too? Whereas if Brad Holmes is where these conversations are going, where the rest of the league's going, man, I think Detroit's going to take Willis at 2. Does this force a panic, and at least it gives them decision? Like, to me, this is, if you're a poker player or whatever, Brad Holmes and the Lions organization, we haven't said this in the past. We didn't know last year because it was the first shot, but now prepared. Be prepared. I think they're prepared. The trust in Holmes, but that also comes into it because you don't know if somebody, look at the deals that Miami just made for Tyreek Hill. Look at the deal that the Raiders made. I mentioned this to Neal yesterday. Somebody's out there in panic mode, and when they realize
that would be the Atlanta Falcons right now.
Okay, so is that I guess would be my question. Is there something out there as far that this could be a ploy too? Because again, prepared to get assets.
Yeah.
Draft picks.
It's possible that the Lions won't have the opportunity to take Willis because he may go at 1. In fact, I would think that's more.
Wait, what?
He might go first.
What?
Yes,
to Jacksonville?
See, that's the issue with this class is there's nobody at the top of this class that is clearing away number 1. There just isn't in this class.
How do you have 2 number 1 back-to-back quarterbacks on your team?
No, Jacksonville be trading out.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Jacksonville would be trading out because perhaps it's a left tackle that they're looking for. And Atlanta, you just signed Marcus Mariota to essentially a 1-year, really team-friendly deal. The idea that you're going to put a mobile quarterback into an offensive scheme that surrounds his talents, and you're bringing in Malik Willis to run that same scheme, but it gives him a year to sit and learn and grow, makes some sense, right? Now, I don't know what Atlanta would have to do to get up to 1, but, I mean, I think right now teams understand that if you want Malik Willis, you have to jump in front of Detroit for him. Now, that's a whole other conversation, but, I mean, the nuts and bolts of that are the top of this draft is not great. It just isn't. It may be the worst top of the draft in a long time, and it wouldn't surprise me if Jacksonville did want to move down a few spots for a player like Charles Cross, who they might view as more athletic and maybe more left tackle than either Aquanu or Evan Neal. And then it goes into, if there's ever a class where you want to take a swing at the quarterback position, it'd be this one. It would be.
Where's the strongest part of the draft? If it's weak at the front, is it strong at the back or in the middle?
I'd say from pick 10 or 15 range through pick 70 range. There's really good value.
So that bodes well for our guy who's known as getting players in that spot, right?
Yeah, I mean it's just if we trust Brad Holmes to find talent later in the draft and to find defensive help later in the draft, this is a good draft for that. I understand that you need defensive help. You really do. But, there's a bunch of safeties in this class.
You got 4 other picks in the top 100, man.
You do. And then you have 2 first-rounders next year. You have your own second next year, which, it's just we do need to prepare ourselves for it because the logic behind why they would do it now makes a ton of sense. You have Jared Goff. He is very stable. You have a very stable franchise right now. The culture is there. The Lions got a week with Malik Willis at the Senior Bowl Malik Willis off the field from a character standpoint is as high as you could possibly find.
Right.
He is the guy. He is as alpha as it gets. His character is off the charts good. The Lions saw it for a week. Now, it's hard to hide. The Lions do a good job of this. Nobody's talking about this kind of stuff. But when you hear Malik Willis talk, and the conversation at the Senior Bowl is how great he was, in meetings with teams and all these things, and then he goes to the Combine, and the media falls in love with him. And it's just like there's just so much there. From a character standpoint, he fits exactly where the Lions are. He knows he needs a year. He could have a year here. They have Jared Goff. The other conversation, the other part of this is that Jared Goff plays to some reasonable level, and you're able to flip him next year too. He's on a cheap contract. You add that, into the mix.
His contract does get cheaper by the day too.
It really does. And you see all these guys getting all this money, and all of a sudden, you saw what Carson Wentz went for.
Yeah.
There's just so many ways to think about how the Willis thing makes sense. And nobody's saying it's not without risk, but the problem is that every quarterback you're going to draft brings a ton of risk.
Scott, you got time for another segment?
Let me think. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me tell you about the Sports Marketing Agency. They've been leveraging pro athletes and other notables for a decade against the issues around mental health and substance abuse disorder. With the help of NFL alumni, Sean Jordan has been able to save lives and take a stand against these issues. Go to woodwardsports.com. Check out the Sports Marketing Agency podcast. This is the F Word. It's a series on fentanyl. And guys, I don't know if you've been paying attention. Fentanyl's really working its way through the community. We need to understand exactly what is going on there with it. If you're struggling with substance abuse or mental health, they are here to help. Go to thesportsma.com. Again, that's thesportsma.com. Check out their podcast. This is the F Word by the Sports Marketing Agency.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty. We got Sam Flannel. We got Spencer Raxter. Scott Bischoff, our resident draft expert here for Woodward Sports. Make sure you check out the draft show on Woodward Sports. Go to woodwardsports.com. They're recording a couple a week, and obviously, he's a big asset to Woodward Sports. We're happy to have him. Follow him on Twitter. You guys want draft breakdown at Bischoff_Scott. That's the follow button to click on that. But we're wrapping right now, and look, I'm glad that Scott's here. He's brought up points that I didn't think about with Malik Willis, and again, I'm not planting the flag. Contrary to what everyone has been saying to me on social media and in our YouTube chat thread, I've not been planting the flag to say draft him or cancel my season tickets, which I'm not a season ticket holder, but I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is it's very realistic, and my side of it, Scott, what you and I have talked about in the past, was purely financial.
Yeah,
and discounts to market. And I know D-Mac was talking a little bit during the break, which is why I'm so opposed to Kyle Hamilton with pick 2. Now, Kyle Hamilton at pick 11, 12, 13. And for me, it's got nothing in... Calm down. Hold on, everybody. It's got nothing to do with me saying Malik Willis is right now or going to be in the future a better NFL player than Kyle Hamilton. It's purely financial. And guys, look around. I know some of you say the cap's not real and teams can restructure and find 40. Ask the Chiefs how real the salary cap is. Yeah. Ask the Packers how real the salary cap is. You have to have financial flexibility. And for me, paying an unknown safety $10 million when the best one in the game is getting 15, I'm not here for that.
Well, part of that financial flexibility is not having to pay. You pay Aaron Rodgers and you can't pay Devontae Adams.
We saw that.
Patrick Mahomes and you really can't pay Tyreek Hill. So, to your point about the finances of it all, it does make things a little easier in the next 2-3 years if you take a quarterback at 2 and you have a friendly contract for a few years. You can really build things, and they are loaded with picks. And it's just it's kind of forgotten. It's like
people act like this is the only draft pick the Lions have in the draft.
Well, they only act that way if you take Malik Willis. If you draft Aiden Hutchinson, you got 32 and 30. You take a receiver and a safety, and then we're good to go. And it's like, well, no,
why do you think that is? Is it because it's just a Michigan guy, and Michigan went to the college football playoff?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just the risk of what is perceived to be a very raw player in Malik Willis. Now, some of the subtlety that I look for and that I was taught to look for is improvement in quarterback play year over year kind of stuff. And Jake Rudock, I brought this up on the morning show. Jake Rudock did that in his senior year at Michigan, where he came in week 1, I think it was against Utah. He looked like a player who was struggling. And as the season went on, you could see gradual improvement, and that's a big deal for quarterbacks. So if you take Malik Willis away from the Liberty offense and you look at the way he looked in that offense and then the way he looked at the Senior Bowl and now the way he looks, and I'm just talking footwork. I'm not talking about quarterbacking because you're not really quarterbacking at the Senior Bowl practices. It's just kind of like a showcase kind of thing. And you're not playing really any level of quarterbacking at your pro day, but it's more the comfort in his footwork and the way his feet look when he's throwing the ball. And he has made significant improvements in that in a short period of time, and it shows you that he understands where he may have had some issues, and he's working to resolve them. And if you can see that in a short period of time, you kind of trust that he's working. And if you're seeing improvements like that, it's a reason to get excited. Then you throw the character stuff. And Darren, you would know more than anybody. Being in a locker room with a guy who loves being in the locker room and brings every ounce of joy out of everybody in the locker room. What kind of value is there in that from a concept that most people don't even know about it?
You need it to win.
That's
because
Willis.
You got to want to be there more than you don't want to be there to begin with. And that comes with the locker room. What I say all the time is that professional athletes, for the most part, when they retire, they do not miss playing the game. What they miss is the camaraderie, the locker room, the before,
getting your balls
the after.
busted in the room.
Yeah,
my
eating
case,
meals
that's
together.
That's how the alumni got me back in. It was to hang around, and the stories. And so even as you're building that and building it together, and when you have that, the more important thing is the why, right? So the fact that he is his character is that high. He is this guy. He will improve because it tells me guys like that put the work in and love being there. Malik, like it reminds me of a guy like Drapes, right? Just loves being there. And if we're going to be there, we're going to have fun while we're there. We're going to put work in.
Yep.
We're going to get our work in, but we're going to enjoy doing it. I call it embracing the suck.
Yeah.
Embrace the suck when you're doing. In hockey, when you're doing, we call it the bag skates, the wallies or whatever, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to work on their footwork. Nobody wants to do power skating when you're 2 or 3 years pro with little kids. But you do it because you need to do it to get better and to win. And to me, that's also part of it, the character-wise. I asked you during the break, too, out of anybody, who you put your money on to be that pro, like, right? And you said Aiden Hutchinson. Whereas you looked at to be that what he is what he will be, and sort of, I guess, would it be safe to say the safest pick would be the Hutchinson from what you see?
I think he's got the most known ceiling of the majority of the players. Like, I mean, I would think it's unrealistic to be able to say right now that Hutchinson will be the best pro of the 250 guys. That
but you watch.
But he has. I mean, he's a relentless player. He's going to defend the run. He's going to give you everything he's got. Now, is that,
But is it dynamic though? Is it dynamic? And I'll cut you off. Juice, be careful when you answer this, Scott, because you'll get messages like this from Juice's Ghost. LOL, effing Neal, let that hate shine through, which I don't understand what I said that was hating.
It's not hate. He is not elite and rare from a pass rush standpoint like some of the other guys who have gone early in drafts. I don't think he's on – people do think he is. I don't think he is. I don't think he's on the level that Nick or Joey Bosa was or Chase Young. I just don't know that he's on that level. But he's going to – I mean, there are no issues with him working. There are no issues with his character. He does rare things with his footwork and with his quickness and that kind of stuff. It's just the ceiling with him is, I think, a touch lower than it is with those other guys. And even if he does get there – and I would tell you that even if it was one of the Bosas or Chase Young, even if one of those guys got there, if we look from a wins above replacement baseball concept, the war with these guys is not taking the Lions franchise from here to here. But the war with Malik Willis and everything else they have that can add to him and the character and all this stuff and the other picks that you have, the war is significantly bigger. And that's just that's it in a nutshell. There's so much flexibility he gives you from money. You have other picks to build around him. I don't know that he's as raw as is made out to be. I think there's a lot of hot takes going on about what he is as a quarterback in relation to the other guys in this class. Look back at last year. Trey Lance went 3rd overall to the 49ers. And
he's starting this year.
By all accounts, he's going to start this year, and I think he should be a really good player. If Lance can go 3, there's no reason that Malik Willis shouldn't go 2.
Right. Is there a comparable there to development maybe?
So Lance ran a lot of the offense at North Dakota State, and he's much heavier the way he runs, where Willis is more explosive and is – I'm telling you – Willis is like Michael Vick was.
Okay, or
Willis is
like Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, where Trey Lance is more like a Josh Allen.
Yeah, he's heavy, difficult to get to the ground. Willis is too. He's very elusive. He breaks a lot of tackles. Michael Vick ran 4.34 at 210 pounds back many years ago. Malik Willis ran 4.38 at 210 pounds last year. We're talking about today's version of Michael Vick, and what do people think Michael Vick would do in a modern-day offense in today's game?
Neal brings up that point, too. We've never had that mobile quarterback. So
and
why
we've
not
never seen it. We've only seen it on television or other teams do it and things like that. And I just think you guys know how I roll. Like I'm big on analytics, big on statistics. I want the numbers to be in my favor. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but the numbers were in my favor. If all else fails around you, you have another opportunity to convert that 3rd and 8.
Yeah,
if the routes don't work, if the pressure gets into the pocket, things like that. If everything breaks down, you still got a shot.
Well, look at Mahomes.
That's it. So that is the point. That's how quarterbacks win today is making plays outside the structure. And I'm going to tell you, you can design stuff all you want, but for the most part, a lot of it fails. Just because other guys, guys on defense are trying to make plays too. So you can design a play for a guy to be open and all these things, and it may not work. But if a quarterback can make plays outside the structure of what happens in an offense when things break down and he's able to make a play, that's where Josh Allen, you can see Josh Allen make plays. We've seen it with Lamar Jackson. You see it with Joe Burrow. People kind of forget about what Josh Allen, what he looked like as a passer at Wyoming. It was bad. It was bad. And I'm not saying that Malik Willis doesn't look raw at times. There are times he does. But if you bring him here and you put him inside an offense that works for him and plays to his strengths, there are a lot of things he can do for you. And again, it's the ceiling. And if he gets there, look out.
But before we get to the break, I address this right here. Juice's Goat says Michael Vick looks so much faster than what I've seen from Malik Willis. You just gave the numbers.
Yeah.
Like, that's the math.
Yeah.
That's the math and the science. So, I'm not
going to argue that Michael Vick looked like he was shot out of a cannon all the time.
Right.
He did. And he might be a touch faster than what Willis is, but Willis is extremely fast.
Right.
And he's I mean, I know Kenny Walker, people love Kenny Walker, but I think Willis runs a little more elusive than most of the running backs do in this class. He's more difficult to get to the ground. Now, he's a quarterback, so you're not going to ask him to take hits at the NFL level. You're going to ask him to get down. You're going to ask him to
get out of bounds. Right.
But it's the concept that when it is 3rd and 8 and he's scrambling, he's beating everybody to the corner. It's first down.
You guys like money?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Guess what? My friends, your friends, our friends, your friends at Lady Jane's Haircuts. For men, yes. Walk in, sign in, sit down, get your hair cut. And also ask that very talented stylist of yours to enter you in to win $100,000. Yes, you know it. I talk about it all the time. You can come into Birmingham or anywhere that you find Lady Jane's Haircuts. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Why? Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome. Big D Energy. Scott Bischoff graces us with his presence. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, Spencer Raxter as well. Happy y'all are with us. Big props to Scott Bischoff for sliding through, sitting in for a couple of segments. Remember, follow him. Guys, I'm telling you this. Everyone's passionate about their draft views and stuff like that. Follow Scott on Twitter, at Bischoff_Scott. He's going to be working here with the Woodward Sports Network leading up to the draft. Make sure you check out his draft show.
Here's the best part before you get going on that is what Scott will like, and it's to your be prepared or whatever the change, but it's like he will get you to think, right? And he will give you sort of the reasons through his eyes that you get to see. So whether you agree or you don't, it gives you a little bit more information. Because Sam, here on Big D Energy, what do?
When new information presents itself, you can change your opinion.
There it is.
Exactly. Like I watched Harley Fife on there say he's getting to the point that if they don't pick Willis, he's going to be mad. So I just pump the brakes, bro. We're just in the preparation mode.
I've been saying it for months.
Don't worry. Neal, sometimes it needs to come, right? It's somebody telling you.
It's like your parents. Like my kids. My kids, a lot of times, and you guys probably find this as well, at home, they won't listen. I take them over to their friend's house. I sit with their parents for a little bit. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. I'm like, who are you guys?
No, you're proud of that who are you guys, because you know the way to act outside the house, which they know that, so it gives them a little bit more leeway. But, yeah, it's the messenger a lot of the time.
And that's fine, D-Mac, because like I said, I'm a servant. I'm a public servant here.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
a servant of the people, and I don't care who gets the credit for the people being prepared. All I want is for the people to be prepared. And whether they won't listen to their own parents, they have to have somebody else's parent come in and listen to them. And Scott Bischoff said, whoever did it. And I think it had an impact with people. I think it is.
I think it just had an impact because I think what I'm looking at for the most part is people are prepared. Okay, that sort of makes sense to the why, right? Not right or wrong. It's still, the imperativeness of, like Jacksonville to what he brought. I hadn't really thought about that. But, yeah, I mean, obviously they would be best served to trade out because they'll probably still get the guy they need. But are they smart enough to do that? I don't know. So you got to be prepared. And
see, if it were me, I would know if I'm Jacksonville, because there's nothing that they need that they can't get at 3 or 5 or 7 or 10. But one thing they will need coming up very soon is cap space with the way they made it rain.
Capital.
And how do you get cap space? rookie contracts.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the way it works. And Don Thompson says, what's Detroit's greatest need, quarterback or defense? I'll look you in the eye and say it's a quarterback. And it's a quarterback on a rookie deal. That's what they need the most. That's what every NFL team needs the most.
Well, and especially here, and especially if you look at the narrative of the NFL, it's a quarterback-driven league, right? You know what I'm saying? And that, what goes through my head as I look around the league, you need that mobility in the quarterback. You don't need the guy to run enough, but you need it to be mobile like Joe Burrow. Right, Scott brought up Joe Burrow as a guy. I don't think of him as a runner as much, but then when I think about some of the...
Remember that third down run he had against the Chiefs?
Pull it down when he needs to.
When they were down 18 points and it was 3rd and 6?
That's what I
They
said.
had to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, because it's a quarterback-driven league, and like you said, Neal, again, because on the rookie contract, right?
Right.
That's the caveat to all of this. And we'll see what it goes. But I mean, I'm more prepared to go that way. But then again, if it doesn't go that way, what is the alternative? So, I mean, I still don't trust. I'll have to see Jacksonville make that move before, because then if they go out and they draft whoever they draft like they usually do, comes back and the phone should be ringing in Detroit.
No, absolutely. Shad216 says, y'all really think Willis is a Super Bowl winning quarterback? And then sometimes the streets do your job for you, exactly like Ryan did. It's too early to say, but it's safe to say Goff is not. And that's where it is. And if you don't have a quarterback, going back to the question that the previous listener had, what do they need more, quarterback or a defense? I really... And this was kind of out of the blue today. Like, we had our whole show lined up, and Scott was here.
When
we're
you walk in and Scott Bischoff sitting in the
you're
chair.
gonna take advantage of that time.
That's why he took him 2 segments to untape himself. I had to take that.
So, but I'm glad we're having this discussion because, I think people are beginning to understand the value of that. And even I learned the way he articulated it. I'll go back to this. Nobody in this draft has the capability of swinging the entire fortune of a franchise the way Malik. And you can be a Malik Willis hater. You can say all these quarterbacks suck, but you cannot deny that statement. You can't deny that statement.
Well, and again, it's a lot of it too is not only setting your franchise up, but believing that what Scott said about the footwork and stuff like this, that he's going to develop. And then I like that comment by Ryan, because Goff isn't. And we don't know on Willis whether he will be, no matter where he's at. What do you got, Spence?
Yeah, I mean, we had Scott on heavyweights a couple weeks ago, and I wasn't a Malik Willis guy. Easy's the Kyle Hamilton guy. I wanted the edge. I wanted Walker or Thibodeau or one of those guys. But like you said, what he said to me, it got me thinking about how if you're going to swing and miss on a quarterback, this is the draft to do it, because there's not that one game-changing player. There's not that one player that's going to turn your franchise around. There's not a Myles Garrett. There's not a Joey Bosa, So if you're going to swing and miss, it should be in this draft. And positional value alone is, why not take, like you said, Neal, if Trey Lance goes at 3, why,
he's starting this year.
Why isn't Malik Willis able to go at 2? And
it isn't even that. And I'll separate that. And people, I think people have wrapped their heads around the fact, because a lot of the mocks have him being taken, at 6. And if you can be taken at 6, if Malik Willis can be taken at 6 in this draft, how is it blasphemous
in this draft
this year?
In this draft,
and that seems to be universal. That seems to be universally accepted. That he'll go in the top 10. If you can be taken at 6, you can be taken at 2, and there's value.
I would say
in
from listening to Scott, if you can be taken at 10, you can be taken at 2, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like where it is, because it's just figuring out where. Are you going? Is this guy got the floor and you're gonna work up from there, or is this the guy you're going for the ceiling? So and here's the thing, Neal, to the preparation of Malik Willis, because how everything else you have playing out with draft picks and salary and stuff like this, he mentioned it right out the bat. It's not like you're taking a flyer, right? If it didn't work out, it's not like the organization couldn't absorb it, or it's not like you're going backwards. That's the whole thing, right? So, again, it comes down to Holmes, and if this is the direction. And again, what's more apparent, Neal? Right? Your win you're winning. You know, why you wanted to lose. So you had the first overall pick, because look what Jacksonville has, right? What they have is everything you've been we're saying before. Oh, you want to win this game. You want to win this game. Now you got the second pick. Now you have to wait, and all the trade offers go over your head.
That's what you guys wanted.
Right back to now with a month left to the draft. Oh, okay, all you guys during the 17 where you want to win this game. That's great for your feelings and all that stuff. But now sitting at number 2 means the first phone calls are probably going over your head and not to you.
But that's what I was told. That's what you guys wanted. When old Neal Ruhl was sitting here saying,
"You reap what you sow," right? You reap what you sow. This is the payoff, right? Just like these contracts that eventually that are deferred that have to get paid out. This is the pay time.
The bill came due.
The bill came due.
And there's one here too. Gromit says you win 3 games and y'all think you can swing and miss. That's Spock logic. We painted the picture for you, bro. Like I don't know what else to say in that he's universally accepted as being drafted by the 6th pick. So why is it blasphemous to say number 2? That's one angle of it. Angle 2 of it, nobody else in this draft has the ceiling to change the entire fortunes of a franchise the way that Malik. And again, that's Scott Bischoff's take.
So
I wasn't smart enough to think about that.
Coming into because it reminds me of the Lamar Jackson going into the draft conversation, right? And if you drafted him and Malik Willis was Lamar Jackson at this point in his career, 4 years in, 5 years in, or whatever like this, are you happy with that, to get a Lamar Jackson production out of
I just want to win a playoff game, man.
Okay. Well, all right.
So, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
100% yes.
But I want to win a championship.
No, well, you have to win a playoff game to win a championship.
I get it, but that's not the end.
Stop winning, Joy.
You're going to stop there. You want to get to the other one, but you're just going to enjoy when we get to that playoff game, playoff win.
We're not at that point.
So, and we could say that if you did draft him and he does play to that performance, it's good enough to win a playoff game. So in that aspect, because of what we had, you have to draft him.
Yeah. Bree says Thibodeau could be a Garrett. What are you guys not seeing? Are you guys blind? No, I was told he doesn't have a motor. That's the narrative around here. I'm with you. Like, Thibodeau still does intrigue me, but he seems to be falling down the boards for whatever reason. I'm not pretending that I'm in those rooms, so I don't know. But what I do know is that Cintron World is an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand. They have a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages, premium bottled water, and revitalizer shots. Cintron, the official energy drink of the Red Wings, proud partners with the Detroit Pistons and exclusively served at Little Caesars Arena. Also struck up a deal with Detroit City FC as well. So how about that? If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Cintron is your top choice. Buy online at cintronworld.com. Use the promo code RedWings10. Save 10% with shipping included. Drink it. Live it with Cintron. Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Mornings in Detroit just got bigger. Starting April 4th, Terry Foster joins the Morning Woodward Show. That's right, the Motor City icon is now going to be on Woodward Sports every morning. So make sure you're waking up 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. daily to hear the Detroit legend along with Adam right here on Woodward Sports.
Neal Ruhl here for Wing Snob, and guys, it takes a snob to know a snob, so that's why I'm here to tell you about Wing Snob. They have fresh, juicy, hormone-free chicken, the best traditional wings in the game. You can try their signature sauces, the Jamaican jerk, the lemon pepper. Wings are tossed to perfection in any sauce you choose. When the wings are this good, you're allowed to be a snob. Order online right now. Get ready for lunch at wingsnob.com. Wing Snob, they just have better wings. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, NFL Draft Talk kind of hijacking the show. Yes, we are going to get involved with the Sweet 16 game tonight, Michigan Wolverines and Villanova. We will discuss that. Pistons got a win yesterday. The Tyreek Hill fallout from that trade. GM questions for you as well in Detroit. And people were talking about, the Lions just signed 2 quarterbacks. There's no room on the roster. You can cut that chump change at any moment you want. Just because you sign them doesn't mean they're going to be here opening day of training camp. Just because you sign them doesn't mean they're going to be here the day after the draft. All right? That's very easy. It's very easy to move on. That does nothing. Pistons fan 11, if you think Blau or Boyle is going to stop Holmes from taking what they view to be a franchise quarterback, you're insane. Exactly. I know Pistons fan 11 and I don't see eye to eye on everything, but we see eye to eye on that. So, that's what it is. Very easy to take those scissors to David Blau's contract. That's all I'm saying. Seems to be a nice guy, root for him to do well, all that kind of stuff, but it's just business, man. We're talking business. So, that's what it was. D-Mac, I think the people are more prepared, though. I think we did our job here today.
I think they're more prepared if you understood, and the ones that just are stuck in their ways are stuck in their ways. But, like I said, we'll see. But it comes down to more crunch time. And the imperativeness is that, like you said, in this year's draft, where there's no, right, we heard it from Scott, where there's no, head and shoulders above talent, this could go a lot of different ways. I mean, by all the different teams. This is what makes it exciting, right? So that's why, again, I'll always say you have to trust the guy in charge.
Yeah. Josh Salas, they're not going to cut people they sign and have problems with their players. Josh, yes, they will.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they will cut David Blau very easily.
They can do that, just like last year where you mentioned the Perriman contract and you mentioned, the Trinity Benson or whatever the different contracts. They get out at a minimum, right? You're going to take losses, but it's just, can you take minimal losses that don't affect you in the long run? And those won't affect in the long run, right? Because we'd be saying, oh, my gosh, why'd he sign this guy for this long? Why'd he sign this money? And it's the NFL, so the money's not guaranteed unless it's guaranteed.
Kevin Newsham. Okay, so you're okay with paying $7 million to a backup project quarterback who may never play this year and lose out on a year for his 5th-year option, so that would make it so it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, we can do this game all day long. So are you prepared to take a defensive end that his ceiling is 8 sacks a year in the NFL and pay him $10 million a year? We can play this game all day long. Are you prepared to take a safety and pay him $10 million a year when the best one in the game makes $15 million, knowing that he can't flip the fortunes of a franchise? Because what safety ever has? We can do this game all day long. If I'm going out taking a quarterback.
And because what does the NFL set the league up for? What position? It's a quarterback league, right? It's either protect him, go get him, it's him, or now we see, right, the play on wide receivers. The wide receiver, we just see this with the trades, the Devontae Adams, the top guys, they're getting quarterback money now.
They are.
So that tells you that where do you need to find that guy? And this is the opportunity, because there's no future in saying you might get that opportunity if this is your guy.
Chuck says, I don't care about his pro day, but I do care about a week of practice for the Senior Bowl. Our coaching staff was there, so I trust him to make the call. And that's what, look, guys, and we've talked, as divisive as this topic is, I think we all end up at the park at the barbecue together.
Yep.
Now, I walked down to the traffic light and went across the street at the traffic light. D-Mac went across the median right here.
So I could smoke.
Yeah, he went that way to it. But we're all going to have burgers and ribs at 12:30. The music's going to be out. We're all at the barbecue together. It's just how you're going to get there. And the barbecue is Brad Holmes is the one making the picks. And
we're
the
all
reason
eating his food.
We like his food. We had it. We were there for a barbecue a month ago, and the food was incredible. He put out 7 dishes, and 3 of them were great.
Bringing you back.
Yeah.
Getting you talking about it. Getting you excited.
One, that 4th round dish that he made, the 4th course, was insanely good.
Well, that was a dessert dish.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, so I think that's where we're at with it, and I think that's how it's going to break down.
And that's what I'd like to hear from Scott, where the draft is. Where's the strength of the draft? If he says between 10 and 70, Well, we fall into there, and this is where our guy has made his money.
Yeah, and again, just to refresh everybody, the Lions picked number 2, number 32, number 34, number 66, and number 97. 5 in the top 97 picks.
This year, and then next year, still have
a lot of picks.
A lot of picks. And you have to take into account, too, when we're talking about that the Lions are looking forward. If Scott says that next year's defensive end and linebacker or whatever, the defensive end core, the rushers or whatever is better, that has to play into your decision too, right? I mean, it all plays in because you have all these assets.
No question. And then you look at next year, they have They have the Lions. They have their own pick. They have the Rams pick. They have a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th rounder and 2 6th-rounders next year. So there's a lot. And it's pointing to that, guys, where my whole thing was he's got to get the books right. All these free agency signings point to the fact that they're getting the books right.
Yeah, and what happens if you don't get the books right? You know, it carries over. So it's not the books that we're saying, well, we're not there. Our guy's not going to get $50 million or whatever yet. So you got to get the books right now so that it carries it over and it doesn't hamstring you building it, because you're going to get to the end and next thing you know, you're going to be Green Bay and you're going to be sitting there having to get rid of your best players. And, you know, that's the schmozzle you don't want to be in.
GW Kid says that 4th dish was lemon pound cake with vanilla bean ice cream.
Oh.
Vanilla bean ice cream, man.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can we get chocolate drizzle on that too, please? Just
you can do whatever you want,
drizzle,
D-Mac.
please.
You can do whatever you want.
Yes.
Somebody earlier in the chat thread said, Neal, that's a sick Oakland golf hoodie. Yeah, my guy Nick Pumford hooking it up. Made his recruiting pitch to D-Mac. Remember that last summer? D-Mac
decided I went and got in the wrestling ring instead. But it was a good ploy. But I had to take my wares elsewhere.
Tried to get his J.R. Smith on and get D-Mac to play for the Oakland golf team. They did go to the NCAA tournament last year. Played out west against Stanford and all those guys. So shout out to my guy Nick Pumford and Oakland Golf. Pumping out pros. My guy Brian Stewart, man. Back out grinding again.
Out grinding again and showing up. And, I mean, you'll see him on the leaderboards. Put a couple dollars on him.
Yeah.
Pull it out.
Stay in the top 125, and they ask you back, man.
That's all it is. They ask you back. Keep coming back, bro.
No, you do. Speaking of coming back, Michigan Wolverines are back in the Sweet 16 again. They play Villanova tonight. Villanova, a 5-point favorite, shading down to 4.5, depending on where you shop. But 5 straight Sweet 16s. That's up in the company with Duke, UNC, Gonzaga, and Kansas. And, I raise my hand and say I didn't think the resume was worthy for them to get in. All they did was go out and execute, though. They beat who was in front of them.
No, and they got to do it.
And you got to salute that.
This is sort of a bittersweet thing. I know I'm interested because Eli Brooks, 5th-year senior, plays his best game, last game, probably as a Wolverine. And that gives confidence going into this game because he's the only guy back from the team that lost to Villanova in the championship 5 years ago. So this is sort of a redemption tour. And Neal, to your point, the focus, because of that, Juwan Howard will have these guys pinpoint focused on this. So I expect them to continue to build, what they're doing with Hunter Dickinson down low and the way he's been able to step up. We talked about it, how they sort of limped in and everything around it. But I mentioned that. I'll go back to it. The interview at halftime when we watched the Colorado State game, and I saw something in Juwan Howard's demeanor about just, okay, something's a little bit different. And so far they've proven. And I expect them to go out, and I expect them to win this game. I expect them to go out and win this game. It's just something that you see it in the playoffs. It's the momentum. You get it going tournament time, and hopefully, we're sitting here tomorrow talking about a win.
And do you want the basketball geek stuff?
Yeah.
So here's the deal, what it'll come down to tonight. When you guys are watching this, just kind of keep this in the back of your mind. We saw Michigan go back and forth in the game against Colorado State, where they got the ball to Dickinson in the post. Colorado State said, okay, we're gonna start doubling the post. Michigan took Dickinson out. did some pick and pop, did some pick and roll with them as well. You're going to see a very NBA style of basketball tonight because Villanova, big believer in the pick and roll as well. Where Michigan may struggle offensively, and look, I said it, and Eli Brooks was brilliant against Tennessee. Brilliant. And they will go as far as a point guard play takes them. That's been the consistent with me. And tonight will be much of the same. Here's where it could get a little more dicey for Michigan. Villanova, the way they play, and look, Jay Wright is not Rick Barnes on the sideline. I think that's first and foremost out there. But with all that being said.
Oh, what, winner? Jay Wright?
Yeah, absolutely. A guy that wins a game in the tournament. But that's more laughing and ha-ha stuff. What Villanova can do very, very well that no opponent Michigan has played yet, and the reason Villanova wins a lot, they are very active switching on the pick and roll. They are very, very good at it. They have great switchability is a word that I like to use. So we'll see, because I'm curious to see how this game starts. Will there be like kind of a Colorado State where they do try to establish Dickinson in the post? Will Villanova take that away right away? Make them go pick and roll because they can guard it? It'll be interesting to see.
Here's the big thing that I think one of the things that I've noticed is what Michigan's done so far in the first two games really well. And Juwan Howard, this is why him and his coaching staff, it's the adjustments. And the immediate adjustments. And what I mean by adjustments, when you're talking in a playoff or whatever, it's having the trust to go. We saw it in the Colorado game. They try it down low, wasn't working, then they block down low, they go to pick and roll, then they go back, right? They adjust defensively, take the wide passes away. I think that it's trusting what you're seeing and adjusting on the fly. So I think tonight what you say, there might be that chess game, and this is where coaching comes down to it, because we can really say where Juwan Howard, like the experience as an NBA coach and his experience or whatever, he outcoached Barnes, made the adjustment in the first two games, he outcoached. Here, you can't give him the coaching check mark, who's got the advantage, but what I've seen so far is that Juwan Howard's on top of his coaching game, like I've seen. So the adjustments to what you're saying to the pick and roll, like, it's apparent. I just think you're going to see a prepared Michigan team, and I think that these are one of the teams that can really use the momentum that they've gained, because it's what I'm hearing out of them is a belief in themselves that I haven't heard of before, right? There's a self-confidence that they have, and it comes from Hunter Dickinson, who's got to be their best player, and he has been. So. Why would that not continue? But like you said, it goes through the point guard, the Brooks. If they can't get the ball down low, if they can't run their plays, if he can't be as effective, you can't expect him to be, the superstar every night, but he's got to be efficient and he's got to be good. He's got to be at least your second best player.
And that's the rub right there, D-Mac. And when you see ultimately if Michigan loses in this tournament, if you don't even watch the game, if you see that they lost, you can go to the box score and look at Eli Brooks' line. And if it's not good, they didn't win, and vice versa. Well, Sam Flannel, are you ready for that tonight, though, by the way? It's going to be a very NBA-style game tonight. I just want you to be ready for that.
Oh, I'm definitely ready, but the thing that I think Michigan has the clear advantage of, and you talked about it, is that Hunter Dickinson is 7'1" with offensive post skills, and Villanova doesn't have any size. And like you said, 7'1" post skills in college basketball, that's kind of a non-negotiable.
But you can eliminate that by doubling the post.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They're going to need someone like Caleb Houston to knock down some threes, and Eli Brooks is obviously going to have to be great. He's not going to be as great as last game because that was the best game of his life, but he can't be 3 of 9, 0 of 5.
Can't have it.
Yeah, can't have it.
You know what you can have though, D-Mac?
Well, I'm sending them that down tonight. Sammy Flannel and I are sending them. We must. Guardian alarm, yes, all the way down to help protect the Michigan Wolverines basket. Yes, you too can have Guardian alarm. Yes, the state-of-the-art technology that helps a good defense, whether it's residential, whether it's commercial, or whether it's your favorite team, the Michigan Wolverines. All with this 24/7 broadcast. Maybe you can work your phone tonight. We'll try to get with Jason and see if we can hook you in to play some defense. But if not, Sam, we're going to tell them you too, because you can control it all from here, your lights, your smoke detector, the deadly silent killer carbon monoxide. But If you want the Wolverines to win, I need you to call. Right? Call this number, 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
I need a really big gold blue, maize and blue for the victory tonight. Tell them where to find it. 1-800.
Stay out. Get out of my house. Go
and
blue.
Get away from Michigan's basket. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Tell them Woodward Sports, Big D Energy sent you. Join the family. We'll be right back. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac here on a Thirsty Thursday, Woodward Sports Network.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
And a miraculous catch. Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty. We got Sam Flannel. We got Spencer Raxter here in the house as well. Happy to have you all along for the ride as we pull up on the second hour of the show. If you miss a conversation with Scott Bischoff, he's out here doing the work in the streets, guys. I've been trying to prepare you for it as best that I could. I think Scott Bischoff put it very succinctly. Subscribe to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, the Big D Energy podcast. You can go back and listen to it if you're out and about. If you're on the treadmill at Planet Fitness, here live from the Planet Fitness studios, whatever you guys are doing, you can go back, rewind, fast forward, all of it. Very intriguing conversation the first 30 minutes of the show. He put it beautifully. But we are talking Michigan Wolverines right now. Villanova tonight. The Sweet 16, Villanova, a 4.5 to 5 point favorite. Some steam coming on the Wolverines as of late.
Hey,
what you got, D-Mac?
I need some nerddom, right? And you know what? You're not going to be labeled a hater. You said what to watch out for, but you also have things that you're sort of worried about. What are the scary things that we have to be aware of for this Wolverines team?
I talked about the central role that the pick and roll will play tonight. It'll be it'll be a very NBA looking game when you guys watch it today.
Okay, so Villanova's pick and roll game versus Michigan's pick and roll game. 8 out of 10 for Villanova, 6 out of 10 for Michigan.
8, 8.5 versus a 6, 6.5. I would say that.
I'm trying to get people to understand the comfortability of this is them running their offense.
Right. The rub for it, as far as Michigan is concerned, and this is where I'll probably take the slander, is if you get Dickinson away from the basket in a pick and roll situation defensively, and the metrics are bad. the defensive metrics are bad.
Metrics?
Dickinson, when Dickinson's on the floor defensively, I think Michigan is I want to get this right, 1.08 to 1.12 points per possession defensively, versus when he's off the floor, they're under 1 point per possession.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a pretty big stagger rate right
facts.
there. Those are facts.
So how do you
and I don't remember what the numbers were.
How do you protect the big man from getting pulled out in a pick and roll? So obviously we're having this conversation. Yeah. Juwan Howard and his staff is finding that. So what do we look for to see them combating that? Because you're always trying to throw a wrench in the plan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Emilio Jacena here in our YouTube chat thread. Appreciate you tapping in, Emilio. I haven't seen you in here a lot. Problem in Michigan's game is that Dickinson cannot be out on the perimeter on defense. And ding, ding, ding.
So how do you combat? Teach me. What if this is that's going to happen, right? So I want to do it. So how do you? So
you could
who's
go
it
zone.
Imperative on him to do something, or is it somebody to pick up for him? Is it a double team thing? Is it a rotational thing? What do they got to be on their toes? And if they rotate real quick, they can insulate him. How do you insulate the deficiency?
So there's a couple things you could do. You could flip to a zone, which certainly they're not a zone team, so they're not going to do that for 40 out of the 80 possessions. That's not the way it's going to go. You could zone it. Depends on how you, quote, hedge the screen on the ball screen. Do you hard hedge out there to try to blow the play up? You can do that. But there's a lot of hockey qualities to that when you do that. Anytime you're talking about sprinting out to the hedge, if you sprint out, what does that mean you have to do after you're done sprinting out.
You got to back check.
You got to sprint
Nobody
back.
likes to back check. It's a lot easier going the offensive way than back. And trust me, and I made my money going backwards.
Yeah. So there are little things you can do to kind of throw off the timing mechanisms of it, but this is Villanova's bread and butter. They've won national title. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but they've also been stopped before.
Sure, they have.
That's where like tape comes in and to see what it is, and I guess it's all. So it comes down to execution, because here's the one thing that I always liked, no matter how much we were against, but I knew what I was up against. Right?
Yeah.
I knew. Right? You play Alexander Ovechkin. You know where he wants that puck, over where Shaney and Hully and whatever it did. So as that defenseman, you're going to cheat that way to try to help your goalie out to make it a little bit tougher. Now, you can't always stop them. I mean, that's why they are the best of the best. There's some shots, but I think is this fair to say? This is where, okay, Villanova's going to run but we can't give them easy buckets. They got to earn on the pick and roll, earn everything, whether contested, and we can't get into foul trouble.
Yeah, well,
right?
it's a want to.
It's a want.
Defending the screen and roll is a want to proposition.
Okay, so doesn't that, I guess, going into this game, after the first two games Michigan's played, knowing that they're going up against this, are we not in the best position of fandom? Because I think that they want it. I see want in them. I didn't see want in them at the end of the season.
But you know, though, D-Mac, momentum is minute by minute.
I get it. You know, that's where coaching comes in, and that's where
you defend. Yeah, and you've
had
had this happen, right? You defend your ass off for a minute 50 of a power play, and then the tic-tac-toe happens, and they bury it in the upper corner, and you're standing by going, damn, we defend.
I'm standing on the bench yelling at Drake.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Get in front of that. But here's the thing. So I would look.
It can break you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that's where the resilience and whatever to the game plan.
And they're going to do it. They're going to do it. You know, it's a 30-second shot clock. They're going to come down. They'll screen and roll. If Michigan takes it away, they'll reset. They'll screen and roll again.
You can't get frustrated. So it's just it's the resilience.
And that last one can pop you with 5 seconds left on the shot clock.
Absolutely.
See, that's the mental side of it. And yes, and I know Pistons fan 11.
You're right. That's more mental because you work than a guy coming down and just popping threes all day long. You can't really do anything about that, right?
Like you can keep
when
your resolve.
You're working and then you get outworked or worked against you. Yeah. So mentally, this game that's what we'll look for. Right, because what happened, you can't get down like you did to Colorado State. I don't think Villanova will allow you back in, but I don't know. I've seen more comebacks of big double digits than anything lately.
Yeah.
So
Keon Clark, Nova small in the paint. Hunter's about to put up 30. It won't be because Hunter Dickinson scores 30 in the post. I know that for a fact, that Jay Wright's not going to allow that to happen. Now, it might be somebody else. You know, Diabate may get a lot of garbage points and stuff like that. It will not be. It can't just be that simple, Keon. Like, Jay Wright's not going to allow that to happen, where Dickinson just goes over the left shoulder, over the left shoulder, over the left shoulder with little 6-foot hook shots.
Does it add to it? Because what we saw against Tennessee is he was dropping threes. You know, he was stepping back, Dirk style.
And that's it. But the thing is where Villanova's really, really good, their switchability on defense. They can switch the ball
screens.
screens.
Hitting threes like Nowitzki, nobody can get up with them.
No, but you know how that is, though. You got to get in his space, right? You got to make it uncomfortable. You don't have to block the shot. You just have to make the landing uncomfortable or a hand run out at you. You know what I'm saying? For people to think that it's just going to be plug and play, because they did do it, and they did do it against Tennessee. They really did it well against Colorado State. This is a different animal here with Villanova.
Well, yes.
What they do defensively.
Yeah, these are the big boys.
This is a different animal.
This is going to have to earn it. And you know what? Here's the thing, Neal. They do get by this. This is, Tennessee was a huge test.
No doubt.
A lot of people got it. But I think that this is sort of when you wanted it. If you were going to play Villanova at all, this is what you want.
No, absolutely. Pistons fan 11, by the way, had a very good point. Think about this. Sadiq Bey would be a senior on this team, on this Villanova team this year. Think about that. Now you start to put it all in place, like when they won the national title and beat Carolina and why they've been so good. People sleep on Villanova, man. I don't know why that is.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But that also tells you how young Sadiq Bey is.
Right. No, it is. And oddly enough, we're going to talk about Sadiq Bey for a couple minutes when we come back, but not before I tell you about Gypsy Vodka. Last night, I don't know, and put you on the spot a little bit there, Spencer, but last night had the farewell session with our own Sawyer. As we rode off, we got together up in Oxford. And you know what it was. The bottle was out there. It was on the bar. We were doing it. And you notice that bottle's empty right there, too, by the way. I'm just saying.
Well, I wouldn't expect anything less.
Really weird. Really weird how that bottle was empty. But it was cool to say goodbye to Sawyer. And it was cool to say goodbye to that bottle of Gypsy Vodka because I know at the store, there's another one. At the bar, 24th Street Tavern in Oxford, they had another bottle. We were ready to go. You see the bottle up there. Cool-looking bottle, but what's inside the bottle is what matters. And good times were inside that bottle last night. 50 different formulas, countless taste tests. Gypsy, the best tasting, smoothest vodka on the market. It's gluten-free. It's corn distilled 6 times. They use artesian spring water. The bottom line for me was when the bartender poured it in a glass last night, for Sawyer and I, it tasted good, man. Some club soda, some lime as well. We supported local guys from Petoskey, from the state of Michigan. You can too. Go to the store, ask for it by name. The name is Gypsy Vodka. As always, drink responsibly.
Think you're a big shot?
Oh, excuse me, it goes down!
Think you can make the big shot?
Washington fires. It hits!
Woodward Sports wants to send you to the finals for college basketball April 2nd through the 4th in New Orleans. That's right, you and a friend in the Big Easy. We'll take care of the airfare, hotel, and tickets to see the finals for college basketball. Listen Monday through Friday to the Morning Woodward Show. Big D Energy. And the bottom line for your chance to qualify. If you can make the big shot, you and a friend are getting out of the cold and to New Orleans.
Got it!
Keep listening and watching for your next chance to win. Powered by Planet Fitness, Syntron, and the Sports Marketing Agency.
And it's over! Anything can happen in March! Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer.
We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty. We got Sam Flannel. We got Spencer Raxter here in the building as well. Happy to have you all with us. And, we were talking about Villanova and Pistons Fan 11 in our YouTube chat thread. And you guys can jump into that as well. If you're watching on YouTube, get your thoughts there. Our social media, our Twitter handles are up on the screen as well. We'll be interactive with that. Anytime you guys want to talk sports, man, it's what I do. It's what they give me a check for. So I'm here for it, and that's not just during the show as well.
You paid to do this?
No. Yeah, and admiration.
That's it. That's what I thought. Thank you.
Admirations
exactly.
And
so
attaboys.
Please hit that thumbs up button. That's how we get
so we can get D-Mac paid, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
84 cents today. Thank you.
Let's do it. Pistons got the win last night against Atlanta. That looked like a very road-weary team in Atlanta. With the Knicks thing, and look, Trae Young in Madison Square Garden's kind of become a thing, and you could tell the Hawks really. I checked into a little bit of that game, the Hawks-Knicks game the night before. They looked road-weary. The Pistons really blew them out in the third quarter of the game. Sadiq Bey became the Pistons' all-time single-season three-point leader. He made his 192nd three-point shot of the year. He passed Allen Houston from 1995-96. Oh, I loved Allen Houston.
I remember. That's my guy, dude. He was a member of Birmingham Country Club when I was.
Oh, yeah? Who's a better golfer?
Good dude. Yeah, solid.
Were you better?
Come on, man.
Of course. Sorry. No, but so Sadiq Bey, as we talked about, became the all-time three-point single-season leader for the Pistons. They got the win. And D-Mac, you had a critical question for me.
I went. Hold on. I don't want to get excited yet. I got to go to my focus group, Neal Ruhl. Can I get excited about this win?
Here's the deal. Here's the deal with it. It's getting a little close right now.
What are we at? Because it goes by. If we're less than 2 games,
blocks of 3. You got to be in the bottom 3. You get an equivalent chance.
And how close are we?
Fourth worst is not suicidal. I forget the exact numbers.
How far out of 4th are we?
Well, Oklahoma City won. last night.
That's good,
which was
right?
good. They beat Orlando, though. That was a problem. Somebody had to win. Somebody had to lose. So right now the Pistons are sitting one game behind Oklahoma City for the 4th worst record, and they are a half a game in front of Orlando for the 2nd worst record. And Houston
That's too close, bro.
Houston is 2 games clear.
That's too close.
It's getting right down to it.
Tankarooski, boys. That was a nice win last night. Let it be the last one of the season. Thank you. I said it. You didn't have to. Keep playing hard, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, and that's fine. Like I said, it's not suicidal. The top 3 or the bottom 3 teams, as it were, get an equal 14% chance of getting the first pick. The 4th worst record gets a 12.5% chance, and the 5th worst record gets a 10.5% chance. So, it's one of those things where when you look at it, as far as the Pacers, I don't think, you would have to really win. Pacers got 25 wins. The Pistons have 20. There's 9 games left? They're pretty much cement. I think 4th is the worst that it could be.
We want to be first.
But you want to be, you want to be at least 3rd.
And why we're saying this is because you don't want to be living like the Lions are now, waiting to see what Jacksonville does at number 1, either with the trades or the draft. It just makes it easier because you get the same percentage in the bingo balls, and we're good with the basketball bingo balls, right? I like our odds. I mean, I'm pressing it up. It's like roulette. You hit your number, you double up. Let's go. Break this thing. Go in the casino by the time I leave.
In our YouTube chat poll, will Michigan make the Elite Eight? Yes, getting 56% of the vote. I got a good one that just kind of popped in my head along the lines of DMAC, and Spencer, I'll lean on you to articulate it more concisely than I do. Did we learn? Have the Jaguars and the Lions situation, have we learned about the draft? And you know what I mean when I say, have we learned our lesson? Have we learned our lesson about the draft? Yes or no?
Man, I hope so. I hope so.
You know what I'm saying, though,
No,
D-Mac?
you haven't. No, we always haven't, because it always changes the narrative, and if you got to stay on point, right? Stay on point. And I like the fact that everybody's comfortable, right, with that we're 5 games out of 5th, so we get that top 4. But from just hearing how it would set up in the draft where we're at right now, and look at, you want to be that 3, because then you don't want to say what if.
You just want the equal shot.
And if we haven't learned anything, we're living through it with sort of the Lions, and we lived through it with the bad end of it, or was it the bad end or not with the Red Wings, right? Because when they're supposed to get the NHL, it's different. We don't have that luck, so. It's more amazing what Steve Yzerman's done with not being lucky. Imagine if he was lucky. I'm just saying. You give him the first over. No matter what he chooses, I just think it's maybe a little different. But again, then you don't give Mo Sider.
Yeah.
So it's
you know what,
way
Spencer?
it falls in. It's just less stressful. Less stressful if they finish 3rd. Like, it's just less stress, and it doesn't mean that everything won't play out and be perfect. It's just saying why
I just want the math on my side.
I call it an unforced error.
And I think tanking.
It's an unforced error.
And Spencer, look, man, I'm not breaking your stones or anything. I think tanking is too strong of a word. I prefer the math to be on my side.
Okay.
Is that better? Is that a better way to put it?
That's fair. Yeah.
Would you rather have the math on your side? Let's put the math on your side in quotations. Would you rather have the math on your side in a draft?
Okay. I like that.
Tanking's a bad word, I guess.
No.
It's been vilified. I'm not saying tank.
What was it last week? And I forget who said it, but they said, man, guys are playing hard and losing well. You know what I mean? Losing by 3 or whatever. But you get everything that you want, right? That's what it is. I'd like to see them lose every game down to the wire, but it's nice to see that says something this year that Sadiq Bey sets a record, right? That's something.
Yeah.
There's something there. So,
and D-Mac, what did I say about this season coming into it, about this Piston season? There's a good chance the record could be worse and they could be a better team.
Yep. Absolutely.
Are they a better team today?
They mirror the Lions in that sort of way. Where the Lions at the end of the season, they were more of a 6-win team than a 3-win team.
I don't think that there's any question, the Detroit Pistons today are a better team than they were last year. Does that mean that
100%.
they're going to go to the playoffs? No. But you can't deny that. And why is that? They got the number 1 overall pick. They got Cade Cunningham, who there are no questions about. We settled that a couple days ago. Cade Cunningham is not a concern. It's not a question. He's ready to be a star in the league. He's going to be a star in the league. There are no questions about Cade Cunningham. Check.
Yes, sir.
Cade Cunningham. Check. There's one. I think Sadiq Bey, I was worried about Sadiq Bey with the start this year. And when we had Jeremy Grant on the show, I think that was a very valid question, and it told me a lot. He didn't dance around it. He didn't say, I'm focused on the next game. When I asked him, D-Mac, and I said, when this is all said and done, are you personally going to go back and think about the fact that Cade missed the first, a month of the season, 3 weeks of the season, whatever it was, parlayed with the fact that you missed a huge chunk of the season, parlayed with the fact that Sadiq Bey had to figure some things out at the beginning of the year, to whereas if everybody was healthy and together, where would this team be right now? He
and
flat out said,
batting a lash, he said, absolutely, think about it all the time. We all talk about it all the time.
Right.
So that tells you something, too, as far as what they're building and what they look at. A lot of the times I mentioned with the Wings this year, it's like the individual growth, learning who you are as a player. Well, the Pistons are in the same position, right? So now, and if you add another very valuable piece at the top of the draft with one of the top 3 or even 4 picks, how can it not make you better with the guy in Troy Weaver making the decisions? So again, the Pistons might be the team that is closer to being the playoff contender with the way that the basketball's set up and sort of the Eastern Conference, but they're actually building something that is sustainable.
And Chuck Brewer says, if we win, the fans complain we aren't tanking. If we lose, we need to fire Casey for not winning. Dwayne Casey is the least of the problems. One of the least of the problems to me. Like, you can't question that man's resume.
Going back to Jeremy Grant, we interviewed him last week, and just saying about Dwayne Casey, about him preaching to them, the work and the over and over and little things, and just you can get out of it the respect that they have for this guy and as a teacher.
I just think the people the fire Dwayne Casey people contingent out there, I think they were a little short-sighted, a little misguided, a little ill-informed.
What the big play is, the big plan,
the
long term,
the long play.
See, here's the thing that I see now in every organization is that it seems like every general manager has more of their long-term plan or more of an idea and not trying to sabotage it along the way by making irresponsible, decisions. They're sort of staying the course. And, when the Pistons and the Wings, too, you look at their coaching situations of people calling, for guys' heads or saying why it's time for a change and stuff like this. But the general managers are standing pat, and you don't hear anything about it. You hear out of Steve Eisman, I don't think right now is the time to address the coaching situation. We'll address that at the end of the year. Troy Weaver's always come out and said, Dwayne Casey's my guy. Get used to it. So that's...
And to answer Chuck's question... That's up to the organization, which you answered that, D-Mac, where when the organization comes out and says, we're cool, bro, then they're cool.
I hear you. We're cool. On your way.
Yeah. And Chili Damien says, Neal must never talk to Raptors fans. Well, I mean, that's an organization that's in a different spot, right? Where, and who knows, you give Dwayne Casey Kawhi Leonard... ... Right? Did the information change with that one?
That's actually a very interesting what if because, they said maybe it was Nick Nurse who was a better coach than Dwayne Casey, but Kawhi Leonard is a hell of a better player than DeMar DeRozan, and that made all the difference.
And he's a dude.
Oh, Kawhi Leonard is a superstar when he's on the court, of course, but he is a superstar bona fide Hall of Famer.
He was on the court that whole playoff run for the Raptors.
And he was the reason they won. It was Kawhi Leonard. I know Kyle Lowry is a really good second option, but Kawhi Leonard made the difference. He put them over the top, and then he left, but he did his job for Toronto.
Because it's a players' league.
It is unlike any other league. It is a players' league, yes.
Because the shot clock winds down, and dude's got to go make plays.
And Kawhi Leonard made a lot.
And he made lots of plays. So that's what I would say to you when you say Neal never talked to Raptors fans. Well, I mean, he didn't get to work with Kawhi Leonard either.
But they also, didn't have to go against LeBron in the East that year. Clay got hurt. Kevin Durant got hurt.
No question.
There's a lot that went into it. And I think in the same circumstances, Dwayne Casey definitely would have been able to produce the same result that Nick Nurse did.
Yeah, because the ball still would have hung on the rim and then fell through.
We would have seen, Kawhi with his hands on his knees with Embiid behind him screaming his head off.
Yeah. So, there's always things that we can point to and say, well, that was a little bit different too. To quote the great Sam Flannel, the information changed on Dwayne Casey. So I think that's fair to say. You know what else is fair to say? You want to get that action in? MyBookie.ag is the play for you. Right now, go to MyBookie.ag. Make your first deposit. Use the promo code Woodward. They'll match your deposit up to 50%. And look, March Madness tonight, Sweet 16. You like Michigan with the 5, the 4.5, depending on where you shop? Go shop those lines at MyBookie.ag. 56% of you said they're going to win. Go take Michigan on the money line then. Back it up. Step it in there. I think they're like 50-1 to win the national title right now. Like, think about that, guys. 50-1. Go to MyBookie.ag. Take some of that bonus money because they'll match your first deposit up to 50%. Take some of that bonus money. Drop it on Michigan to win the Natty. Get a big-time return on that bonus that you get from MyBookie.ag. Smooth interface. Everything is easy to read. Moves quickly. You want to do the live betting thing? Boom, you're in there. MyBookie.ag. Want to do sides, totals, parlays, all of it? Boom, MyBookie.ag. That is the play for you. Again, use the promo code Woodward. Your first deposit, they'll match it up to 50%. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Have a problem with gambling? Call the Michigan Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
At Wingsnob, staying humble's not our forte. We just have better wings. We're back at it again with our crispy golden brown fries and our famous boneless wings. Juicy, tender, hormone-free chicken. Your favorite signature sauces with no bone. Just when you thought Wingsnob couldn't get any better. Order online at wingsnob.com today. Wingsnob. We just have better wings.
Mornings in Detroit just got bigger. Starting April 4th, Terry Foster joins the Morning Woodward Show. That's right, the Motor City icon is now going to be on Woodward Sports every morning. So make sure you're waking up 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. daily to hear the Detroit legend along with Adam right here on Woodward Sports.
Back at it here, starting to come down the stretch. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren, McCarty, Sam Flannel, Spencer Raxter, as well. All of you on our YouTube chat thread. You guys smash that like button as well. But that viewership, those numbers, those clicks, everything just keep going up and up and up. D-Mac, there's going to be some numbers that come out soon with Woodward Sports that are going to make people really do a double take about where the future of sports media is in this town. What's going on with sports media in this town? I'll leave it at that. I'll let the other people figure that out. The numbers are pretty eye-opening, my friend.
Oh, well, you're the numbers guy. That sounds like draft capital, salary cap. So if you're smiling and
the people are speaking.
I'll just
man.
keep sitting here doing what we're doing, telling people to be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. A, be prepared for Malik Willis. B, be prepared for Woodward Sports Network because you guys are speaking. We're going to see very shortly. There are some numbers that are coming out about what we're doing here that are pretty impressive, and that's because of every one of you.
Well, it's that bottom line, Woodward Sports Network is about the people. You can get your information everywhere else, but we're trying to build a relationship that we all can, and it especially I speak on behalf of Big D Energy. Just like when I'm gonna play gatekeeper to whatever this as our show, I couldn't be prouder of the interaction not only we have, but what I love about the Big D Energy family too is that some of the names that I've got to meet, throughout obviously with Tammy and stuff like this, but I feel like I know these people, like Colosia out in San Diego, it's a regular. So you guys are our family too, just like what Woodward Sports Network. It's all about the people. So we're building this together, and I say thank you because, we couldn't do it without you. So from Neal and I and Sam and now Spencer, keep her going. Keep her going, because you make us think too, and
no doubt.
It's all about everybody's got their own opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Bree says, what can you say? This is a sports city, and that is true. That's 1,000% true. So, and speaking of the sports city, got me to thinking, and I'm curious to get everybody's take on that. And we can wrap up our YouTube chat poll. As a Detroit sports fan, are you ready to have the math on your side as far as the draft goes? And you guys know what I mean. Because tanking's a bad word. I prefer to have the math on my side. I think we can all agree. I'm glad I stumbled onto that one, Sam Flannel.
I mean, that is a very kind of academic way of putting it. And I think it's easier on the ears,
Yeah. I just prefer to... I don't condone tanking. I prefer to have the math on my side when it comes to the draft.
Facts are facts, just like you say.
Yeah. Here's a good YouTube chat poll because it leads into this next topic. Let's draw the lines in the sand right now. GMs in this town. Who you got the most faith in? Holmes, Yzerman, Weaver, and I'll put Avila in there too.
How about the fact that we're having this conversation about 4 guys, right? Where, we'll all have an argument for who we think, but it's not just, this one guy. I remember it was before even Stevie, it was who you had faith in nobody. You couldn't even bring this poll up because it was a joke.
Right.
Now it goes to show you that we can have this conversation and even add Avila in there, right? Goes to show you Sports City where the sports teams are at. We're moving forward, guys. We're moving forward, and it starts because the GMs are in place. So let's have a conversation.
Yeah, let's talk about that. And here's a little sidebar too, by the way, on the YouTube chat thread. Austin Harris, D-Mac, you signed my hockey stick when I was 11 at the Fraser Hockey Arenas. I'm 27 now, and I still have the stick, so thank you. So there you go, man.
Attaboy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
That's what it's all about. That goes to the point of building the culture. But I think the question, and I'll start, Neal. Obviously,
please.
Steve Yzerman, it's not when, it's when. I know he's going to get it done. Like I tell you all the time, he did it 8 years in Tampa. I'm looking to do it 7 or less here. Right, so that means 5 more years. He's going to get it done. The question to me, the way that football is set up to make a bigger turnaround early, but the conversation we had, I might say Troy Weaver and the Pistons might be able to get it done the quickest, the earliest. Really? They might be there sooner, just because if the math plays out correctly, if these pieces, what we said, if some guys are healthy and moving forward, right? Because that's the apparent. That came down to it. They know it, but they haven't had that team together. So I know Stevie's going to get it done, but what Troy Weaver's done, and Brad Holmes, again, I got to say I trust in him, but with that clock that I have, I got to wait to make my further assessment, because now it's fork in the road and I got to wait till the end of the 2-year plan. The other ones I can't. And then, with the Tigers, we'll see opening day what that roster is and what these young guys are. But with the pitching arms, with the acquisitions they made, and then you got Green and Torkelson if they're ready to play. Haven't done that to Avila for a long time.
Ownership concerns me there, though.
Well, that's right. That's the caveat right there.
Which I know it's the same ownership amongst the two, but it's different. It's run differently. The rules are different. All that.
Right. Exactly. And I think that that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I can agree that I'm happy with who's running all 4 of my major sports teams and the jobs that they're doing now.
Yeah. The thing with me for Weaver, and obviously I'm a big Troy Weaver guy, I think the longest road or the biggest job when they walked in the door, I think, was Weaver, in that he flipped a roster in 10 months, an entire roster in the NBA.
He did it. He had the ability to sever everything that he wanted. More so, Stevie did the same thing, but it had to take longer because of the salaries and stuff that he had to deal with.
Yeah, the contracts he had to deal with. But I mean, Weaver had Blake Griffin on the books.
What I love is that Weaver came in and said, "Oh, it's my job." Well, I've thought about this. He just didn't come in and just go, "I'm starting new." he had a plan from when he came here of this is what I will do and would do. And obviously, when you get the first overall pick, however it plays out, he's doing something right. Doesn't matter if, that's a bingo machine. No, he did it right and putting the guys together. So to say Troy Weaver's had the biggest impact, and it's funny, Neal, because we're talking about 3-win team. We're talking about teams that don't make the playoffs. And we're talking about a team that we want to have a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. Yet, blue skies, baby. Blue skies all around. Like we're moving places. Like every organization is doing something. Moving places. They still got to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
But what they've done till now, right? We're in such a better place than we were a year ago and 2 years ago and 3 years ago with every organization.
No, and there is. In our YouTube chat poll right now, Steve Yzerman, 51% of the vote. Brad Holmes, 34% of the vote. Troy Weaver, 12%. Al Avila, 4% of the vote. Which GM do you have the most faith in? It's very, very simple. You can only pick one. And we're not interested in your rankings or anything like that. Who is the one in your eyes? And I will say that while I think Troy Weaver had the biggest job, I would say the one who, when they walked on the scene, had the most purgatory to deal with, I would say was Yzerman. Because, and again, I always delineate this stuff. The following views are reflective of what Neal Ruhl thinks. They do not represent the views of Darren McCarty, et cetera, or Woodward Sports. And I still don't think people understand it. The contracts that were on the books for the Red Wings were an embarrassment when Yzerman walked in. Were an absolute the Franz Nielsen contract. I know people will say they'll look at it and they'll go back to Jordan Zimmerman, perhaps. The Franz Nielsen contract, I think, was the worst contract in the history of Detroit sports. Just on the what you got versus what it cost versus the grand scheme of the league versus, Franz Nielsen's making $6 million a year. Shouldn't even be on the roster making $6 million a year. And that's the one, maybe I overvalue that one.
Somebody brought it up here because the first person that comes to mind is Stephen Weiss. Right?
Stephen Weiss is another one.
That's the worst one than Franz Nielsen, but they're the same. Pretty much the same, and he's probably still getting paid. That's where you look at the deferred money or you look at everything else. But the cleanup, to either get rid of it or to clean up the book, it's almost like hoarders. I mean, he had the worst case of hoarders. They all had a little bit of a different situation to deal with, right? Weaver comes in and just implodes it. Stevie had to maneuver his way through the minefield. Right? Holmes and Campbell had decisions to make to sort of go in reverse to go forward, right? And then Avila, like you said, it's sort of always maneuvering around Miggy's contract with everything else. But when you miss on guys like the Jordan Zimmermans and you let the trades, the Verlanders, the homegrown pitchers, the Scherzers, all these guys, the map with the arms that get through there. Like what's apparent is the talent's there, but sometimes the money's not. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that when it comes down to it, that the Tigers drafting organization can see talent. It's just putting it into efficiency in contracts and stuff like that. They haven't done a good job. So now that AJ Hinch is there, I think that he's made Avila better, right?
Here's the
without
deal.
AJ Hinch, I ain't giving a small golf.
No doubt, AJ Hinch. I want.
To me, AJ Hinch. I know there's a baseball manager and a general manager, but to me, he's the manager of it all.
Yeah, and Avila to me.
Do you not feel that AJ Hinch has more say than Avila?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's get it clear right here. Al Avila's gone long before AJ Hinch is gone. If I'm pulling the strings, if I'm owning the team,
no, I get it, but here's the one thing. That's great that you say that, but do you see that?
Do
you see that he has an influence in being the general manager's ear or in the owner's ear?
Yeah,
and I do. and that makes me feel better.
Yeah, I am happy about that. This is a good topic. We're going to talk about that when we come back after I get done telling you about Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere. Membership starts at just $10 a month for access to your home club. They also have a black card option available, $22.99 per month. Yes, less than $1 per day. You can work out at over 2,000 Planet Fitness locations worldwide. Unlimited guest privileges as well. Bring a workout buddy with you. It's all included with your black card membership. Hydro massage, massage chairs, total body enhancement. All of it comes with the black card. You can join today in a club. You're going to pass 2 of them on the way home. Pull on in the parking lot. Join there. Feeling extra motivated? Open that computer, planetfitness.com. You can join there right now, no matter where you go. There's a Planet Fitness close by. There's one now open in Midtown Detroit at the Pistons Performance Center. Right now, $0 down, $10 a month, and you are in there for access to your home club. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness, D-Mac.
Your fitness is essential.
Right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Neal Ruhl here for Chili Peppers Tanning. They have the cleanest salons in the D, spotless, sanitized rooms, trained and certified tanning professionals. Just a couple weeks ago, we were out at the new location in Berkeley. Can confirm. Everything brand new. Everything spotless. Knowledgeable folks at Chili Peppers Tanning. You can join the Pepper Club. Get your unlimited tanning options on as well. They have the Australian Gold Designer Skin Caltan Swedish Beauty Lotions in stock as well. Go to chilipeppers.com. 26 different locations all around. There's more on the way. Also, they have the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest hands. Chili Peppers Tanning, your vitamin D headquarters. Coming down the stretch, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Happy to have everybody along for the ride. We're talking GMs. Who you got the most faith in? We got that on our YouTube chat poll right now. Brad Holmes closing the gap on Steve Yzerman. Yzerman 45%, 37% to Brad Holmes. Troy Weaver at 14%, Al Avila 4%. And this was one here. Chuck says, I disagree. Holmes has the biggest job, not just the roster, but the culture. But Chuck, my point is the NFL is more designed for you to flip things quickly, I think, than all the other sports are. I think the NBA is the toughest one to flip, because you got to have a ping pong ball go your way once or twice. Like that's just what the reality is. Like you can have cap space, doesn't matter. You have to have those ping pong balls go your way once or twice. You just do. And again, the NFL kind of lends itself to that. Steve Yzerman, I think, had the most damning books out of all of them. And then for me, Al Avila, the problem why I'm not there with the Vila is largely because of the Tigers' ownership, which I understand is a Red Wings ownership too, but it's two different realms. It's two different sports. One has a salary cap, one doesn't, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The thing that bothers me about the Tigers is, and look, you can talk about the Correa thing. I know a lot of people have beat that to death here in this town. I'm not a huge Correa guy, especially for the kind of money that he was commanding, but that's neither here nor there. My problem was when it was time to strip this thing down, the ownership wasn't committed. And when I say they weren't committed, you go back to the Verlander trade. I think I brought this up before on this show. You can control your return in baseball. When you trade a superstar, when you're tearing things down, you can control the return that you get, i.e., and Yzerman's doing this to a T, where you can pick up salary and increase the value of the prospects or increase the draft pick that you get by picking up salary. And Yzerman did it because he's controlled the salary cap Avila maybe couldn't do it because of the ownership's commitment to winning, and that's what my problem is with the Tigers.
And look at for an example what you said at the trade deadline, right? Yzerman picked up Nick Leddy for a second-round pick. He just traded Nick Leddy and Luke Witkowski for a second-round pick and 2 players, right? Every time he makes a deal, right, it seems like it's not a win-win. It's he's winning a little bit more. To the point that after the Philadelphia game the other day, right, I did one of their fan podcast shows, and to the fact that I asked, how does the rest of the league view Steve Yzerman, at least from the fans from Philly's perspective, and they're like, man, anytime we hear that they're dealing with Yzerman, we get scared. Look what they did look what he did to Washington or whatever. But just in saying that mentality is that he's always thinking, and he doesn't give money away. There's thought to every action he does, and just what I always say, Stevie's like E.F. Hutton. When he talks, if you listen, he will tell you the game plan, right? Well, he'll come out and he tells you why he likes different guys. You know, the little caveat behind Jake Waltman is because Jesse Wallen, who's our scout, was part of St. Louis that drafted him. So there's something too of who thinks they can get something out of you. So when you come to Detroit now and Steve Yzerman brings you here, there's something to your career. You saw that Oscar Sundqvist, who was in the lineup the other night, also too had a net goal but an assist. But you know, that more of a rugged, I look at him more of a right-handed shot Adam Ernie guy. So guys are getting their opportunities, but nobody around the league, like it's the same way they look at him, like they looked at him as when he was the captain. You know what I'm saying? But he's so calculated because his due diligence is always done, Neal.
Yeah, and look, and he's done it before, and he's running the exact same playbook of what he did with Tampa. And that's, he's getting a lot of credit from the people obviously there. And look, I would say that too. And there is some holdover because of what he did here as a player. And one of my all-time favorite signs that were downtown on the side of a building, and this plays into it too. It had a picture of Yzerman. You probably remember this one. The whole side of the building, a picture of the Yzerman, born, British Columbia, adopted Detroit, 1983. And that was awesome, by the way. That was a great advertising campaign.
I love driving by that one or by the Barrie one or whatever. Yeah. That was Detroit. That's who we are. So could you imagine in the buildings throughout this city that there's the 4 major guys, whoever they are? Who would they be? Cade Cunningham, right? Mo Sider or Dylan Larkin or whatever, like a collage of the sort of the team. You got Cade Cunningham and Malik Willis. On the building. There you go. Stir it up. Be prepared. That's all I'm saying. Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yeah, I hope we got that established here today. Yes, but we're talking GM. Who do you have the most faith in as far as all 4 of the GMs here? And Avila's taking a lot of heat right now because the rebuild's been going on since 2016, 2017, whatever you have it. And Chuck agrees with me. He said, yeah, we traded away players just to not pay them. And that's my problem, is you were in a position. Those are the little things, right? I'm not saying you have to go overpay Correa because that's the only, that's the biggest name free agent, so go get him, and if you go get him, then now we're serious about winning. That's not what it is to me, because you can be selective about that. I'm not a huge Correa guy. But when you trade away Verlander and you won't pick up more of the contract to increase the haul, because we talk about draft capital and the place it has in sports right now, the place it has in American sports right now, across all the sports, really. That's what it was with the Tigers, and they turned their back to it, is they just wanted to get out of having to pay money when their lifeblood was what you got in the return for this.
Right.
Because why have they – a lot of people are big on them right now, and that's fair. I can understand that. But why are they big on them? Because of what players? Mize, Green, Torkelson. Where'd you get that? Where'd you get those guys? From sucking. That's where you got them from.
But it's one thing too, as you see in other organizations that won't spend or whatever, that they're into sucking, and then it's all about okay, we got this prospect now. How are we going to get rid of him, and how are we going to make money on him, right? So yeah, you have sucked, but as long as you suck to get better, right? So now it's not time to suck because you're supposed to go and get these guys to get you out of the hole, right? Which means the guys that you've mentioned, the Mize, the Mannings, the Scoobles, the Torkelsons, the Greens, right? There's 5 guys right there that in baseball you watch for the next 10 years if it's done right.
Yeah,
you know?
and you
get behind them. It's like building the team. I mean, you look at baseball how it's always done, even back to the '84 Tigers. That wasn't built that year. It started in the '70s.
In the '70s, right? Because that whole core of that team was homegrown.
Core coming together is 5 years away. Maybe it's quicker. Maybe it's 4. Maybe it's 3. I don't know.
Yeah, but you do have to give Avila credit to some degree, and that's why. And I get caught up doing this, where I lump Avila in with Ilitch as far as the ownership, because that's my criticism of the Tigers, and I think it's fair for the reasons that I laid out. I'd be happy to sit down and debate that with anyone. I don't think I'm being unreasonable. I don't think I'm being over the top. I'm stating facts right now. It's what I believe, and I have to separate that because the draft, the most uncertain draft, obviously, is the baseball draft, right? I think that's fair to say. There's such a low percentage of picks that hit. And you have to give Avila credit, or the scouting, or whoever is ultimately responsible for the pick, to nail high-end draft picks like that consecutively, like they did with Torkelson and Green and Mize. Like, anyone can take the number 1 overall pick, right? But in baseball, it's different.
Right, it is. But here's a scenario I look at, is that Al Avila has to ask Chris Ilitch for permission to do something where Steve Yzerman tells Chris Ilitch what he's doing. That's so until you're organized, and more so, I think that the relationship developing with the Holmes regime and the front office is that Brad Holmes is making his way more towards Steve Yzerman. And then you look at Troy Weaver, I think it's the same way as Yzerman. He tells Tom Gores, this is what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. So to your point about giving Avila a break, yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not his decisions, it's more the ownership.
It's
so
upstairs.
In that situation, I think that with the Lions, the more so as we go to trust, and where I can say 100%, I think it's Holmes. I think it's more of a 85-15 up there right now. But with the Pistons and the Wings, why they'll get there quicker is because both their GMs pretty much tell their owners what they're doing, because their owners put them in the position to succeed.
Yeah, and the Fulling Warehouse will put you in a position to have a good time, right, Spencer?
Oh, most definitely. You want to have a good time, not have to worry about draft capital, just get out there and have fun. You can go down to the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck. It is the home of the original football bowling pin game called Fulling. You can host a corporate party there, a team building event. Come in, watch the draft, watch us pick Malik Willis number 2 overall with your family and friends. There are 2 different ways to play. You can have a $10 unlimited open play where you can stay there from open to close and throw your arm off, or you can have private lane reservation for up $120 up to 10 people for 2 hours. Of course, when you're there, you might be getting a little hungry, and that's the best part. You can bring in your food. You can bring in your wing snob. You can do whatever you want. And you don't got to worry about drinks because they have a $2 mystery beer vending machine. You put in $2, random beer comes out. No decision need to be made. But if you want to make a decision, they have over 100 beers and multiple bars that you can choose from. So come on down, get your full on. Check them out in person in Hamtramck or on their website at the FullingWarehouse.com. That again is FullingWarehouse.com. This is Spencer from Big D Energy, and we will be right back.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Final segment of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel. We got Spencer here in the house as well. as we wrap things up on a Thursday. Remember, tomorrow, second hour of the show, the anniversary of March 26th. Yes, I know tomorrow's March 25th, but we're not on the air Saturday. D-Mac, what do you got going on? There's tons of events going on this week. I know you guys have the autograph signing at Pro Sports Zone.
So still, I believe that 5 o'clock, Fifth Avenue on
Royal Oak?
Saturday. Claude, me and I, we're going to watch the fight and do a question and answers or talk about it or whatever like that for everybody to be involved in for the 25th anniversary. Then noon on Saturday in Livonia at Pro Sports Zone. The Asian sensation Johnny Yu is hosting us, and Adam Foote and Claude Lemieux will be signing those pictures also.
So there you have that.
I mean, I'm obligated to sign it. It should be in every household and bar and restaurant and man cave and woman cave. And that's just me. I'm working on it. We're getting there.
You're getting there, no doubt. Real quickly, the vaccine mandate lifted in New York City, so they're saying that Kyrie can play home games. And it's interesting to me that this whole thing.
What was your comment? We'll wait and see.
When the
Yankees who playing.
Yeah, when the Yankees start, that will stop. And I said this a week ago. I said this. Yeah, we didn't need to, Drake. We didn't need to see on this one. We knew how this one was going to play out. So Kyrie Irving will be able to play home games starting on Thursday. And yeah, that just goes to show you, man, the Yankees. The power of the Yankees. Your rules don't mean anything.
Follow the money. What runs that market, right? And you know it's even baseball. But what do we hear all the time? That MSG contract, that money, right? That if you want to know what the biggest sport in New York is, no matter what, Yankees baseball, hands down, rules, everything, even more than football. Even though the NFL runs everything, it's the Yankees that control that town. And they sort of do it on the covert since old man Steinbrenner George has been gone, because he was more of the flamboyant Vince McMahon ownership type. Now they do it a little bit more subtle, but at the end of the day, things like this. Oh, hey, Governor, you mind signing the bill, brah? We need the judge to play. No problem. Here we go. Is Stanton healthy? Maybe he'll play half the year.
Right. So yeah, it's you knew it was going to go down that way because Aaron Judge is playing. Period. End of story. And the Yankees are going to be playing. Period. End of story. That's just the way that it's going to break down. So, surprised, not surprised. And again, like we were talking about tomorrow, second hour of the show, D-Mac's doing all these events around town, and that's cool and everything like that. I get to step in and ask some questions, and I gave you guys a little taste yesterday.
I get to step in
and D-Mac even said, I asked him yesterday. I said, "Have you ever been asked that before?" And he said, "No, not one time." Where I asked you about on the plane coming back to Detroit after that whole incident went down. Not the fight. I'm talking about the Draper, everything that led up to the fight. What was that plane ride? But he said, no one's ever asked me about that before.
Yeah, I have to think about that.
So, and those are the types of questions that I
Big
have.
J journalism by the Golden Rule. Look out, who'd have thunk?
No,
guys,
it's not a journalism
you guys would
thing.
have thunk. He was talking about numbers and cap space and draft capital.
No, it's not anything about like journalism per se. It's just questions that I have.
We
as
all
a fan.
We're all part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is something that, like I always joke, that I can be Ponce de Leon at least just with 25 years, take 25 off your. But there's questions that I have. There's questions I'm going to ask Claude this weekend that I've been wanting to ask him about it, and it's sort of like more of the aftermath. So I will have breaking answers on Monday, but we'll get deep dive into it tomorrow. And I guess if any of you will interact, Neal's always awesome at interacting it. So some of the questions,
when you guys have questions too, fire those off. I'll get to as always, man. I'll get to as many of them as I can. But I have a certain segment of questions. I want to know about things that led up to it. I want to know. Dino Cicerelli saying, "I can't believe I shook this guy's freaking hand." Like, those are the kinds of things that I want to talk about. And it is. We're going to have an hour-long discussion on it tomorrow. Second hour of the show, right off into the weekend, doing it right. The big anniversary of the beatdown heard round the world. Tammy Chin, I can't wait, Neal. I can't wait either. It's going to be a lot of fun. I get to ask him those questions I haven't asked him before. And so we'll talk about it, man.
Can't wait either. I get to talk about myself.
Hey, people will talk about interviewing skills. That's the key to interviewing skills.
Yeah.
Everybody,
you got to just get it. But
everybody in the world.
Also, when you're intrigued, I love this, dude, and I can't wait. And yes, my Grind Time podcast will come back at some point. It's in hiatus, but that's the thing I miss about the most, and that's why I love the guests that I have on my show, because it's what I want and the questions I want to ask them. But it's so much fun because I want to learn. So it's sort of like, and I want to know about them. So I look forward to it, and it's always because when it doesn't matter what it is, I get at the meet and greets and stuff like this, if fans ask me a question, I love it. I know where I was. I love to hear the little caveat about either your family, or you weren't old enough, or this, that, or you remember this, and because the thing is this what connects us together, and it's 2022, 25 years later. I know I've lost people that I love that aren't here no more, that are a big part of that event to me, and I know other people are too. So that's what Woodward Sports is all about. That's why I love being on here. It's to connect to the ones who want to be a part of something that is greater than yourself.
Jenna Newman, great show today, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Love y'all. Well, appreciate you, Jenna. And so for Darren McCarty, for Sam Flannel, and for Spencer Raxter, my name is Neal Ruhl. Thanks for tapping in.
Deuces.
Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.